The Supreme, it wants to experience itself. Causal level is called the Karan Sarir. Astral level is called Sushma Sarir. Physical level is called the Sthul Sarir. As sun is poured more and more into the moon, you become less and less of a Daitya, and first more and more of a Manav, human, and then more and more of a Aditya, God. So I had sent you one, set of questions in the WhatsApp that you can. So we'll try to link the idea of personality, mind, our life, fate, destiny. Are we puppets completely controlled by fate, destiny? What is God? What is God's role in this control? Do we really understand all these things? Can we do something from our side proactively to mold or shape or guide our fate or destiny or whatever it is? Why fate? Why destiny? Why nature is like that? Where some people are very fortunate, some people are seemingly less fortunate, some are very unfortunate, some are handicapped from birth itself, and it seems like without any rhyme or reason. Because you see why these questions are relevant, because either things are random, as many people in the West, the scientific paradigm seem to believe. Life simply came up, like epiphenomenon of material reactions. That is one explanation. Big Bang happened and the universe was created. But in Indian worldview, there is no Big Bang. The world came out of Hiranyagarbha. And Hiranyagarbha is the genesis of the world from the Hindu perspective. And then in, I think, Bible, it is said that God created the world in 6 days. And on the 7th day, he rested. So that is the holy day, Sunday. God rested on a Sunday. So the whole all over the Western world, Sunday was a holiday. And holiday means holy day. It's a holy day because God took rest on that day. So holy day became holy day, which means free time. So if you look at Jewish tradition, they really treat Sunday as a holy day. And they do a lot of practices for their inner purification on that Sunday. So these things are important. Our traditional roots all over the world, they are important because we see how the journey has happened in the human consciousness in terms of explanations. How you explain, these things, how things came into being. And Indian style is more like storytelling. Everything is told in terms of stories, and these stories are not random, and they look like little bit crazy, but if you go deeper into the stories, there are deeply encoded truths or knowledge to be uncovered. It's like a golden treasure actually, but you have to find the nuggets of gold in that story. So slowly I will go along. I'll try to take you on a journey towards greater and greater depth of understanding. And with an open mind. It's not that I'm trying to brainwash or something like that. But these are like the inner revelations that happen to me. I'm trying to share it in the best way possible, and I feel technology allows me to now spread these ideas as much as possible. Rationally minded people with open mind, they may come and connect it. They may vibrate to it. And one thing I would like to share is objective truth and subjective truth. Now, ultimately, whatever you call as objective truth is understood using the subjectivity of the human equipment. Even if I use a microscope to see microorganisms, it is not the microscope that is seeing. Microscope is only magnifying. It is the human that is seeing. So data is being collected by the human and interpreted by the human brain rather than by the microscope, which you should never forget. Similarly with telescope, when we see outside space, towards outside space, it is not telescope which is seeing, it is the human which is seeing. So human capacity to see has been enhanced. And with more research and more knowledge, human capacity to interpret better has increased. So in a way, humans are coming closer and closer and closer to the truth. But initially they thought that we can reach the fundamental particle in the material world and how these particles organize themselves into greater complexities. That will help us to understand the universe. But then, ultimately when they kept going down, 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 towards more and more micro particles, atom and molecules and electron, proton, neutron and whatnot. I mean, as they kept going down, 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 ultimately they came up against the quantum world, where all the laws that govern the physical universe no longer operate. So scientists are left scratching their head. So ultimately, the quantum physics, actually, if you see, has put the ball back in the court of the human being. Right? How you make sense of this reality. It is the observer influences the observation. That is what quantum world says. It is your motive, your aspirations, or your biases that color the reality that you see. That is what the quantum physics in a nutshell is telling you. So the world outside is not as objective as they had imagined. The quantum physics also tells that the world ultimately is subjective only, because at the quantum level, your motivation somehow is picked by the quantum domain. There is a famous experiment, no, electron gun experiment. Electron will go through this aperture or that aperture. And what they found was that electron can go through this aperture or that aperture or both apertures, depending upon what you want to see. So there is no fixed law at that level. And for God's sake, electron doesn't exist. Electron is basically a probabilistic distribution. It manifests and disappears. Okay, so there is no electron in the quantum world as such that you can talk to. It's Maya. So the quantum world, what it is revealing in ancient India, they call it Maya. And what is Maya? As is the observer, so is the observation. So ultimately, the observer interprets the reality. So it is our mind which not only interprets the reality, but it seems also creates the reality. So we have very famous books these days, like The Secret. Rhonda Byrne became very famous. Some of you may know about it. She revealed a very age-old secret. She was not the first to reveal, but at least she made it popular that whatever is happening in our life is happening because of what we ask the universe and what we believe and what we are willing to receive. Ask, believe, and receive. That's what she says. 3 stages of receiving anything in life. So where does all this take us? It takes us to again within our own self. That we, the observer, are doing the observation, and it seems we're also creating our reality. Not only in the subjective psychological sphere, but also in the physical sphere, if quantum physics is to be believed. So, what is the role of karma in this? What is our connection with karma? So, reality is very much intertwined with our consciousness. And if you look at the ancient Vedic worldview, it is the consciousness in which the world is floating. It is the consciousness which manifests this world. So in that aspect, consciousness or pure consciousness or God is called Brahman. It manifests or creates the universe. Then having created or manifested, sustains the universe, provides everyone food, and helps everyone to perpetuate their life in the given lifespan. Everything has a lifespan, right? And then, so that is the department of Vishnu. He sustains the universe through dharma. And not only that, the world has to be sustained in a proper order, in a dharmic way, so that everyone is as prosperous as possible. That is the role of Vishnu. And then ultimately, since everything has allotted lifespan, everything needs to die. So death is the department of Shiva. So these three trinities, no, Holy Trinity, basically take care of all three aspects: creating the world, sustaining it, and then dissolving the individual species or individual elements of the species or members of the species. And when the time comes, even planetary systems can also, be withdrawn. Even they may die. It is told that even Earth has a lifespan, right? Even Sun has a lifespan. So this is how, science also knows these things. That there is a lifespan to everything, and this is the way the ancients explained. So it is not very different from what science understands, because the same things they are telling, one is telling through symbology, mythology, stories, other is telling through scientific calculations. But they're telling similar things only. So in a way, it seems mythology is science told in a very colorful way, at least science of that era and their understanding. That is the only difference. Right. Now, why we are discussing all this? Why we're discussing all this is because as we go along, I want people who connect with me to understand that you are not isolated entities who are trying to struggle through your life on your own and you are all alone in the universe. It's not like that. Universe is always with you, and you are always in the universe. The universe is always watching you, and it has created you, it sustains you, and it will take care of your passing away also, but that is not important. What is more important is what you do in the allotted lifespan. Do you fulfill the destiny for which you were manifested, and do you come closer to the ultimate purpose, if there is one ultimate purpose behind creation? You know, that is another second question, deeper question. So I would say that what my role would be to help you not only fulfill your destiny in a very beautiful way, but also, not start. I mean, you're already traveling on this path, hence you are here. Otherwise, you won't be here, because there's nothing random in this universe. You have been on the path for long, so that we are, meeting today now. The point is, would I help you to travel faster towards the ultimate purpose of every human's life? Because there is ultimate purpose. For example, I remember one conversation Amma was having with some people, and can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Because I saw on
Yes,
my
sir.
video it was with the problems that some people have. Okay, fine. So, there was a conversation, some Advaitic Vedantins had come, and they were trying to tell Amma that there is no purpose behind creation. Creation is Maya. You know, many Vedantins are of that view that, that outside physical reality is Maya, and only Brahman is real. And you realize Brahman, which is Atman or Supreme Truth, pure consciousness, and everything else is Maya. That is the purpose of human life. And Amma actually very strongly negated that view. Amma, basically counter questioned that, do you think, God is a fool that he has taken up so much pain to create this universe? So Amma asked, Nirakar Sakar kyun hua? I read Hindi translation. So Nirakar Sakar kyun hua means, why did the formless become this play of immense amount of variety of forms? This manifested universe is a play of forms, physical forms. So why did that supreme formless reality become this multiple plethora of forms playing with one another? So do you think God is a fool? So it's very important to understand this, because Amma says very clearly, no one knows more better than Amma on this planet. Amma said very pointedly that there is a purpose behind creation. The formless became forms because he or she or it, whatever, has a purpose in it. So what that purpose could be? Okay. And my particular answer to this question is that what I have understood from Amma and my own inner sadhana is that the purpose is that ultimate reality, God, wants to play as God through a physical form, through a physical mental apparatus. It is like, let's say there is an ocean of sweetness, okay, and sweetness of an unbelievable quality, which if once you taste, You will be willing to die for it. It is that kind of taste. Now that taste is inherent in that sweet entity or substance. Now, if only that substance were there, can that substance taste itself? Can salt taste itself? Can sugar taste itself? Can music enjoy itself? Can a beautiful work of art enjoy itself? Or does it need something else which can enjoy its sweetness? What is your logical answer?
Can you pardon, please, sir?
Please speak. There is no need to ask permission.
Can you pardon, please, sir? I couldn't get it deeply.
Oh, you want me to repeat it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So there is an ocean of sweetness. Some substance is there which is extremely sweet, beautifully sweet, and its taste is so beautiful that once you taste it, you want. And if it is deprived again, you want to die for it. You want to get it somehow, right? It is that kind of sweetness. Okay. Let's say God is like that, the ultimate sweetness. Now, can that entity or substance taste itself?
No.
So, what is needed for that thing to be tasted? Others also, please speak.
If you want to taste the nectar of divine bliss, first you need to separate yourself from that nectar, and then after that you can taste. Otherwise, not possible.
So, you need to create a subject which can taste the object, isn't it? Hemant, you please
Yeah,
keep
sir.
quiet.
It
Let others
means
speak.
you are.
Hemant, 1 second. Let others also participate. So, are you with me? Other people.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
we are with you, sir. Yeah.
So, the Supreme is unbelievably rich with infinite number of absolutely amazing qualities. It wants itself to be experienced. It wants to experience itself in its amazing variety of qualities. But it cannot experience itself by itself, of itself. It needs to create a separation between itself and a subject. And this is the spiritual explanation of genesis of life. How convincing it seems to you. If this could be theoretically true, it's not in your experience. It is in my experience, okay, but not in your experience as of now. But if hypothetically if this were true, does it convince you, at least rationally speaking, logically speaking?
Yeah.
Sachit, are you on mute or?
Yeah, I was saying yes, it does convince. Because I remember the excerpts from Conversations from God also, this explanation is there. Where they explain about how the universe comes into beingness, and all the same explanation is given about the experience part. So, yeah.
Yeah. So other Raj, Neha, Deepa, does it at least theoretically satisfy?
Yeah, sir, it satisfies me, and so this is what my thinking process is, sir. Especially the experience and the consciousness goes hand in hand. For example, the experience, what you might have with a specific thing, is different from the other person, and it's true and applicable to the whole world. Till I don't experience, I'll not get that into my consciousness.
That is true. And what happens is that for that experience to be felt very powerfully, God cannot or should not create super enlightened beings, because there is no fun in that. Because God has many qualities that pertain to the domain of Mahakali, Mahalakshmi and Mahasaraswati. God is, also having tremendous amount of resilience and courage like qualities and optimism like qualities. That supreme consciousness, when it is split into like, white light broken into 7 colors, one type of, colors are like that. They are very happy to face adversity and to challenge adversity and overcome adversity. So to experience those types of qualities, God needs to create a world which is filled with challenges. And God herself, himself, through different entities that are embodiments of God only, need to experience to overcome. So each person overcoming adversity is actually God enjoying his own ability to fight and overcome. We shall overcome. No, we sing, we shall overcome. So it is God singing, we shall overcome. So it is, so from that perspective, Rishis called it the Leela, playfulness of God. The Supreme Almighty becomes a tiny, puny little, Rajiv, and is struggling against all kinds of odds. And they seem like, Herculean tasks. But there's something in me which becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, and strength is an aspect of it. Are you getting me? So idea is that God climbs down to the bottom of the bottom and wants to grow up from there. Becomes an amoeba bacteria and wants to grow up from there. And that is how, Darwin's theory of evolution of species, which is partially true. It is not random. There is an intention behind that, because as that species grows through the hierarchy of life, it gains many qualities till we reach in the earth plane the human species, where the human species is perfectly equipped to deal with all kinds of challenges, overcome them. One challenge was to create a civilization out of the jungle. We managed, right? First through agriculture. Within the forest itself, we learned many skills to help us survive against the more dangerous and powerful animals, ferocious animals. They could not eat us and finish us because of our immense brain. We created many, poison-laden arrows and stuff. You know what I mean? And so that was fight for survival in the jungle. Then from within the jungle, we created the field, the village, then the city, civilization, culture, right? And today we are at the apex of modern culture. And not only that, we have gone so far away from nature in trying to go away from the jungle that now we are struggling a little bit, because nature is God's world and modern world is man's world. So there are people who don't see sunlight for many, many days, isn't it? And there are people who have never looked up at the sky for last 6 months and look at the stars and look at the sky, right? So we have become very much separated from nature. We need to go back to nature also a little bit. So sustainability problem, for example, is because of our dissociation from nature. We in the cities are doing things which we can't imagine how they influence the nature's, ecosystem, isn't it? Because we're not in touch with nature. Maybe if we are a farming community, we will not be able to be so wanton in terms of our way life. Where we don't care about sustainability. So all these things you see are related. So there are micro aspects and macro aspects, both intertwined. And God wanted it that way because ultimately it is consciousness which is living life individually and collectively. And it is consciousness which needs to learn its lessons. And by learning its lessons, find the right path again. It's like, it's exploration, experimentation with different forms of, government, society, institutions like marriage and stuff, religion, and trying to find an ideal form which will be ensuring both needs, happiness and also progress, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, towards greater and greater expression of truth, which is lying in the very bosom of our heart, Atman. So this exploration by consciousness with different forms of life, different forms of living, and learning from these experiments brings us to the aspect of karma. Because karma is meant to teach. Law of karma is a device created by the divine intelligence to help humans learn from their mistakes. It is like, it's again like a clap. One hand is your thoughts, words, and actions, and your consciousness. And other hand is divine's reciprocation to those thoughts, words, and actions, and that consciousness. So in this worldview, God is not separate from the universe, and you are not separate from God. In fact, each one of you is one node of God. Each one of us is a one node of God through which God expresses herself. And God is deeply interested in each one of us and the journey of each one of us, and watches very closely the journey of each one of us by sitting in our very heart as our soul and teaching us from inside as the voice of our conscience. Antaratma ki awaaz, it is called in Sanskrit. So there is inner sense in me which is basically deeply ethical in nature, deeply wise in nature, and knows the interconnectivity of all the living beings. That is why when you want to hurt something or kill something, you have to harden your heart a little bit. You have to grit your teeth a little bit, because you are not enjoying that experience. Am I right or not? Is it not?
Right, sir.
So why criminals become so stone-hearted? Because they have done this hardening of their heart so many times, and the scale of violence have increased so much that they need to harden their heart tremendously. So much so that it has become like completely rock-like now. No feelings now of compassion or love. But that feeling was there inside, dulled over time. So, let's start. I will take a pause and ask you people to share, your contemplations of the positions that I shared yesterday in the group. What you contemplated. Then I can respond. Right?
So I had a point regarding the free will and fate point which you had shared yesterday. So I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I used to be someone who used to believe in free will a lot in the past, like till few years ago. I used to think like the hard work you do will help you to get where you are and stuff like that. And I thought there was very less control, external control. And then after some time, and I could be wrong, but after some time I realized that there's only a limited amount of information and awareness that a human has. And hence the free will is also very limited to what a person knows. And recently a book where I was reading a book in which it said that scientifically it's not proven that the amount of free will that a person has, because all the neurons of your brain is connected to each other. That means whatever decision you make is based on happening in your life. So your perceptions and your belief system, everything is connected, right, to what the decisions you're making. So I'm not sure if free will actually exists, like what is free will and how free is a person, because it's seems like it's not there now. So my belief system has changed a lot over the past few years. So I wanted to talk about that.
Yes, one thought I will share with you to contemplate further. I will not give you answers because it's not good to give answers. Better to give pointers for your further explorations and further thinking. because that way your consciousness will evolve upwards. See, one pointer is that how free one is from one's past. How much we are free from our past. So, in OB terms, ordinary behavior terms, how much we are free from our biases, for example. When we see something or when we interact with someone, are we really free in a very literal sense, free of biases, free of opinions? Can we see this person as this person actually is without being colored by the filters that our brain is applying?
No.
So where is the free will? I am not even free to assess a person objectively. I am blinded by my own inner subjectivities, biases. So how free is my free will? So then, to the extent I am colored by my biases, will I not be reacting to this person or to the situation? So if I am reacting, am I not a programmed person, programmed robot? Only when you can truly respond and not react, only then you are free. So yes, free will exists, but for whom is the question? Free will exists for a spiritual master who has broken free of all the obscurations produced by karma. Now I'll start the explanation of karma. The word karma has to be brought into discussion. Okay, what is karma? Let's start thinking about that, and first your response. What is karma?
Sir, I can take a step.
Yeah.
Karma is one's action. So basically, I'll share an example. So now we are all spending our time with you in a beautiful session. Rather, if I opt to go and join a gang which is actually doing some criminal activities, of course, I'm going and inviting a problem to myself as well as to my family. We're all seeing what is happening in UP, right? Basically, gangsters are getting killed. So that is where the action defines. So basically, one has to be very clear in terms of what is that they are choosing. For example, if one wants to become a yogi, one wants to sit in a class, something like this, there is no harm and there is an enhancement in the human being. So this is free will. For example, today I have two options. One, either I can go and watch a movie on Netflix, or I come to Rajiv Sir's class and sit and enhance my knowledge. So that is where I exercise my free will. So this is my thought about the free will and karma, sir. To talk about karma also, sir, what I have learned about karma is three types of karma. One is the prarabdha karma, sanchita karma, and the kriyaman or agami karma. So prarabdha is one that we are experiencing in the current scenario. And sanchita has been the accumulated karmas that we have done in the past, and we are reaping it. And the one which is the agami karma are the impact of those. I mean, my current actions and decisions will invite those future karmas. So this is my understanding, sir. But I'll stop here to get others' perspective.
Very nice. So just to help others to understand what just Deepa, one moment, please. Okay. So just to help others understand what Raj is saying. So this agami karma, kriyaman karma, prarabdha and sanchit karma. So there is a world view behind what Raj is saying, which is the traditional Sanatan Dharma view, is that we humans are created at three levels. Okay. The causal level, the astral level, and the physical level. Okay. And the causal level is called the Karan Sarir in Sanskrit. Astral level is called Sushma Sarir in Sanskrit. And the physical level is called the Sthul Sarir in Sanskrit. So Sthula, Sushma and Karan. Three levels. So Sthul Sarir is created to experience the Prarabdha karmas. And what are Prarabdha karmas? Prarabdha karmas are a portion of the Sanchit karma that has been selected by the soul to be exhausted in this particular lifetime. And what is a particular lifetime? This particular lifetime is a experience of physical life in a physical form. Now, why it is like that is because more the karma stock in the soul, soul's karmashaya. It's called karmashaya. I'm using technical terms now. Karmashaya is the storehouse where the soul's karmas are stored. So soul is a spark of supreme divine, spark of pure consciousness. It is encased in a karmashaya. Soul is encased in a karmashaya, and in the karmashaya, the sanchit karmas are accumulated from lifetime to lifetime. But the soul has become heavy. Why? Because the karmashaya is very heavily filled with too many karmas or karmic impressions. So one level meaning of karma is karmic impressions. Now what are karmic impressions? Karmic impressions are everything that you are experiencing in this lifetime from birth till death. Your consciousness, you are a conscious entity. Every experience is registering on your consciousness, impinging upon your consciousness. This physical vehicle, body, mind, is experiencing many things which not only remain at physical level, they stimulate the sukshma level, subtle body, astral body. Astral body is called the mind. So that mind or astral body reacts to this stimuli in a particular way. And how it reacts, thoughts, speaks and actions. Now these thoughts, speeches and actions, they send ripples across the universe. The whole universe is a conscious entity. So your thoughts travel across the universe. Your actions impinge upon other units of consciousness. And your feelings impinge upon the consciousness. So you are not only receiving impressions, you are also sending impressions. There is always an exchange of life happening between life forms in an alive system called the universe. How beautiful this understanding of life is. You are responsible for your actions, you are responsible for your reactions, and you are responsible for your experiences that you are seemingly inviting from outside in a random manner, because you had chosen to experience these experiences when you are incarnating into this human form. It is called a prarabdha karma. So prarabdha karma is that type of karma about which Buddha told that you can do nothing. Why? Because Buddha used to explain that once an arrow has been released, that arrow will hit the target. You can do nothing about it. So prarabdha karma is like that. You can do nothing about it. Okay? So as an intelligent person, where you can operate is in the kriyaman or agami karma, which is our reaction to that experience. That is, boyfriend which came into my life was my prarabdha karma. And that he will betray me after 1 year was my prarabdha karma. We had already negotiated it at the time of birth itself, both of us, both souls. But after he has betrayed you, whether you will react violently and with anger or revenge, and again perpetuate the karmic cycle, where no, again that fellow will have to take birth to satisfy your feeling of revenge, and you will again connect with that person and again punish him for his betrayal. Then the vendetta will continue. You will keep punishing each other across lifetimes forever till one of you wakes up and gets out of this vicious loop. So that is where the kriyaman karma becomes important. Okay, this boyfriend left me. Now shall I react with anger and revenge, or shall I wish him all the best and let him go and live in peace and let me find my own path, which is a more enlightened action. So this is the kriyaman karma I was saying. At the kriyaman karma level, you can either react or respond. That is where the free will is there, Neha. In the kriyaman karma, free will is there. In the prarabdha karma, no free will is there. You take out your car and a truck will come and hit your car, is part of prarabdha karma. You can do nothing about it. Don't you think so? It's beyond your control. Yes, no? Aren't things
Yes.
happening beyond your control?
Yes, sir. There are.
So that is prarabdha karma. But how you will respond to that is your kriyaman karma. And the Sanchita is basically the Karmashaya, all the different lifetimes that you have lived and the impressions that have accumulated, you can imagine how vast it will be. They all sit there. So Prarabdha Karma is a very, very minuscule part of the Sanchita Karma. And why soul is doing it is because soul hopes that by exhausting this Sanchita, this Prarabdha Karma, I will become little bit lighter. And the soul's purpose is to become lighter, which is to empty the Karmashaya. Or Karmasaya can also be called as the Chitta, which is become darkened. Karmasaya is nothing but the Chitta, Sadichidananda, right? I'm again revisiting that. So Chid part comes from that mind. I told you, God is the ocean of sweetness, wants to experience itself. It needs to create the Chitta. So the Chitta can experience the sweetness. But the Chitta is contaminated with all kinds of dark karmas, from lives as a monkey, the chimpanzee, the lion, the tiger, the deer, the cow, the rat, the cat, the amoeba, the bacteria, everything is sitting there. That is how the divine has made the entity, that it will evolve upwards from amoeba, become man, and as man will start to clean up. So that is why it is told this process of perfection, human perfection, is not possible to achieve in one lifetime. It takes many lifetimes. Very fact that on a Sunday, whereas Raj told you have options to watch movies on Netflix or do something else, you sit with me on a Sunday and explore life like this, shows that this is not the first lifetime where you are delving into these questions, because your interest, which is strong enough to overcome Maya, at least for some time, on a Sunday, is showing that you have done it in the past also. And obviously I'm an old hand because I'm not doing it for the first time. I'm a very, very old soul, right? I understand what I'm doing. So for me, the whole life is not meant for this only. But you know what I'm saying? All of us are old souls. Hence we are able to, and all of us are weird people. According to relatives. Each one of your relatives tells you are a little bit weird, isn't it? Why don't you just enjoy life like me? Why you worry about all these things? Nonsense. Come with me to Lulu Mall or whichever mall and enjoy. No? It's Sunday. You got money, company loves you, gives you so much money. Why you're bothered so much? Just find a boy, a girl, enjoy, right? Have fun. Yeah, so I elaborated upon Raj what he was trying to tell. But what happens is that Prarabdha karma we exhaust, soul is hopeful it will help, but doesn't help. The physical entity becomes engrossed in the world and sends millions of reactions, which again bring millions of karmic repercussions, and they all again go and accumulate in the Sanchit karma. So in a way, Sanchita minus Prarabdha should have happened, right? But what happens is Sanchita minus Prarabdha plus tremendous amount of tamasic kriyaman karma is added. So Sanchit karma becomes more than it was at the beginning of the life, and the soul becomes heavier rather than lighter at the end of the life. And that is what happens to people who don't wake up or try to do spiritual practices or try to work upon their consciousness. By the time of their death, they become very heavy, much more heavy. And that is why for most people, unconscious people, death is a very painful experience. Death need not be a painful experience. If you exhaust a prarabdha, it will be a very beautiful experience, because it will become much lighter. But it doesn't happen for people, because they become very heavy in their subtle and the physical body, accumulate all kinds of karmas. If you eat chicken today and beef tomorrow and whatnot next day for all 15 days, throughout Ramadan, if you eat beef every day, at the end of the Ramadan, really, are you fit enough to celebrate Eid, or you will be found in a hospital? God knows. You become much heavier. The purpose was to become lighter, not heavier. But choice of food, choice of actions, and all that will ensure whether your Ramadan succeeds or fails. Yeah, Deepa, you wanted to ask something or say something?
Yes, sir. adding on to what you mentioned and also adding on to what Ms. Neha and Mr. Raj mentioned, my understanding is that karma basically manifests in three aspects. One is with respect to the time, that is the kala. It requires its own time to manifest. And the other one is prayatna, which is the effort that we put in, and the final one is ishvara pranidhana, which is the grace from the divine. So that is something which always keeps me wondering, the third part, the grace part, that is something which we can act on, but definitely based on the control that we have within ourselves. So I just wanted to seek more information and knowledge on the third part.
Yes, so Iswa Paranidhan is a surrender to God, right? Paranidhan means surrender. So idea is that Krishna taught in Bhagavad Gita that your control is only upon the actions that you do, not upon the results. Karmanya vadikaraste ma phale sukadachana, which is the central teaching of Bhagavad Gita. And because what you are doing today, whether that will succeed or not succeed will depend upon so many other factors. It's like game theory, what you do and what others do. Both have to be taken into account. You may be a very good player, okay? Let's say you play chess. Now you may be able to beat most people in your neighborhood. Then you go and play in the city championship. Maybe you beat everyone there also. Then you go and play in the state championship. Maybe you beat everyone there also. Maybe you go and play national championship. And maybe you may beat everyone there also. But then you go into the continental level and there you start losing to few people. So it is not that your actions are weak. Your actions are very strong. But then you find stronger opposition. So whether you will succeed or not succeed in this example depends upon also what other people are doing. Maybe they have a stronger opposition than you. So karma is like that. You can only do your actions. You cannot control the results. I give a very simple example. I mean, a little bit silly example, but what I'm trying to say, it's like it was a competitive example. But what if we are in a collaborative atmosphere and we do our best for good? Still, it may not fructify. Let's say I'm raising money for an orphanage. Children are going hungry there. 100 children are there, and I need to collect, maybe let's say 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees, so children don't go hungry this month. So it's a good cause. I may start, but whether I will succeed in a good cause or not will depend upon other people's collaboration and cooperation. I can only start with good faith. So idea of Ishwar Pranidhan is that it's also a good advice in the sense that you take care of your effort and don't worry about the rest, because that way you can remain psychologically peaceful. We have not seen God, we don't know whether He will give His grace or not. But point is that if He bestows grace, it will be easier. Your work will be easier. But we can't control the grace factor. That is up to God to give it or not give it, because it belongs to Him. So that is how it is. But point is that as you become more and more sattvic, as you purify your vessel more and more, your consciousness becomes purer and purer. In Sufi tradition, it is a very beautiful, saying that as you pour more and more sun into the moon, moon becomes more and more like the sun. So idea is that God is the sun, you are the moon. So if you pour more and more God's light into you, which is growing your light, you become more and more like God. A time may come where we can't distinguish whether Deepa is God or God is Deepa. You see? So that is the inspiration. We grow our light. Why? Because as we pour more and more sun into the moon, moon becomes more and more like a sun. So in Indian tradition, we call them Adityas. Sachit, just 1 second. Huh? So Diti and Aditi were two sisters. Diti gave birth to Daityas. Aditi gave birth to Adityas. Daityas are demons, Adityas are the gods. And forever they keep fighting. What is this fight all about? This fight is the fight and light and darkness, sattva and tamas. So, as sun is poured more and more into the moon, you become less and less of a Daitya, and first more and more of a Manav, human, and then more and more of a Aditya, God. So, it is the same thing. The sweetness, ocean of sweetness, wants to be tasted, and you can taste it, and relish it, and want it more and more and more and more and more and more, till all the impurities dissolve and you become Aditya. So Diti is not a sister or a person. Diti is the perspective of duality. You see duality. We are two separated beings. I and you are separate is Diti. I and everyone is separate is Diti. And I and everyone come from the same God is Aditi. And God is our substratum, our parent, our common guardian is Aditi. And in this perspective, the light grows. You become Aditya. And Diti, Western materialism, consumerism, marketing, selling, you sell your soul also in the process. So Diti produces Datya. You can see, I will just, use the water in Palaghat for bottling my Coca-Cola bottles. How demonic is that thinking? And let people go to hell. And for producing what? A useless drink. Useless drink, which costs 60 paise and I am selling for 10 rupees shamelessly. And heroes and heroines of this country are dancing Coke below. What bloody nonsense is this? That is karma, okay? It will pay back heavily. As we told in the last class, action here and punishment there or result there are not separated. They are all a part of the same continuum of experience. Only time, as you said, little bit time is needed to reach there. It's a very, very amazing universe, very, very fascinating universe where God is not jumping reactively and punishing you now. Not like that. Because ultimately it's a play, it's a leela. God just watches in the backdrop, witnesses, and guides you as Mahakali, as Mahalakshmi, as Mahasaraswati. And there are many more goddesses and gods to come. Because what I have to share will take years and years to unload. Okay, God knows whether I can end it also or not. Because it's infinite ocean of knowledge that rishis had already shared. They're hidden here and there. We don't take interest in that. Indians don't need to go anywhere to find what is truth. All the answers are already there. You just need to go and connect with us. Ancient, brilliant, illumined minds. They had understood everything. Yes, Sachit?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to share, it could be slightly different, but correct me wherever, if the points are wrong or it requires correction. So I read this from one of the material that, karma, the word that we usually, especially youngsters in the current generation, we look at it as, you do X, Y, Z and it comes back to you. You do good, you expect good to come back to you. You do bad, as you sow, you reap. That's the only limitation that they kind of, attach to the word of karma. But what I read is, karma is more of, even with, I want to go back to the first, when we started the session, you highlighted about everything is about how we perceive, the entire experience through our mind and through our experience, right? For example, you spoke about the double slit experiment of the quantum reality that the quantum science is trying to explain, that every single thing, the electron itself, whether it passes through in a particular way or not, is dependent on the observer himself, right? So does that mean that even karma, does that mean that even my own actions, it is dependent on my observation, it is dependent on, for example, if I'm a person who is filled with a lot of fear, on various activities that I might get into. So that fear will always reflect in anything and everything that I do, right? Like you spoke about various impressions that gets carried on a conscious level. And the example that you give, that there's a collection of all these karmic impressions, but it doesn't mean that, okay, if you experience them, it depletes that particular storage. But every moment you're carrying forward various other experiences, so various other impressions that you are collecting also keeps collecting in the storage, right? So there are various parallels that are brought out, but there are a few key important highlights which I read through, which came about was on responsibility. That responsibility, when you understand, I mean, you cannot talk about karma without understanding responsibility. And when you understand responsibility at a deeper level of, understanding, then for the beings who are completely away from fear, the way you understand karma doesn't necessarily, reap, kind of reactions in the universe, because there are also creative tools. For example, like you also highlighted, we are creative beings who create through thoughts, words, and actions. So when we are able to create with responsibility, when we are able to create from the ethical perspective, the inner voice that is guiding us, and it is also there are various other higher beings that always guides us in the right direction of light. When we are in that direction and in that aspect of doing our activities or doing any responsibility that we pick up, I think in that aspect, then we don't need to really bother about outcomes in a way, like you said, that you cannot attach yourself to certain outcomes. So I'm not able to weave all of it together, but I have so many parallels of understanding about what all we have spoken. And one more very important aspect that from various classes that you've done earlier, you highlighted about look up to certain role models or picking up a certain kind of qualities that you want to develop, right? So when we start picking up higher qualities, which are higher frequency qualities, right? It could be right from acceptance, gratitude, love, all of these higher qualities, and try to be that person. We imbibe and embody those qualities. We kind of, like you said, do away with the darker side of us, do away with the tamasic side of us. And when we try to, work with these qualities, we probably grow our light. And I don't think at that level, the way that we generally understand karma, it kind of has an impact over there. So, sorry, I'm bringing a lot of parallels, but I'm not able to weave all of it together. If you could.
I'll try to help you.
Yeah.
So, see, what you are saying is that, at multiple levels, reality is operating. And for different people, it operates in different ways. So it will help you clarity if you use these terms: unconscious creation and conscious creation, and semi-conscious creation. So most of us are not totally unconscious, because if we are totally unconscious, we are like more of a criminal. That we are not. We are not fully conscious, because then we will be divine entities. We are semi-conscious. Our mother taught us something, father taught us something, some teacher taught us something. We picked some good impressions from somewhere, and we're trying to embody those things. And as a result, we try to be good, at least, as much as possible. At times we lose control, we react. At times we are in control, we respond. So we are like a mixed being. Am I right? So in a way, we are creating in a muddled manner. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes indifferent. You are saying like that. Okay. So what is the solution? Solution is that you grow your light consciously, and that is the key word. You grow your light consciously. It is like you take care of plants in your garden, right? If you will not take care of the plants in the garden, weeds will grow and overrun them, right? Similarly, farmer takes care of the crops in the field. If he doesn't take care, the weeds will overrun the crops. Because if you see nature, in nature, the tendency for the weeds to grow is more than the tendency for the crops to grow. Isn't it true? In the wilderness, everything grows wildly. But someone is needed to take care. A gardener is needed to take care. A farmer is needed to take care. So that you can get good crops. You can get desirable produce. Similarly, the human mind is like that. Human mind is very fertile, rich with imagination, and rich with capacity to absorb impressions from outside. It's a very dangerous double-edged sword that we have, the mind. One, it is reacting from the past. See, mind has no other way to react other than from its past memories and experiences. Isn't it true? And not only that, in the present, the unconscious mind absorbs more of the programming material. It is heavily programmed and gets programmed more heavily day by day. So it is a robot to start with and becomes a more heavily conditioned robot at the end of the day, if you live unconsciously. Why? Because you are a storehouse of impressions and storing more and more impressions. Could it be that we grow old so quickly because of this unconscious living? Maybe there is a connection, no? That we grow old very quickly because we live very unconsciously, absorbing so many impressions that this physical vehicle exhausts itself very quickly. Why these psychosomatic illnesses are increasing so much these days? Stress-related illnesses. Women who are supposed to be immune to heart attacks because their basic hormone, no, protects them against heart attacks. Now even women are suffering from heart attacks. How it is possible? Even nature's programming has been overrun by the impressions that they are receiving in the current moment. Kriyaman karma, as Raj was saying. How it has happened? Unconscious living on the one hand and dangerous society on the other hand, which is out there to market things to me. Things which I don't need, but they need to sell because they have a target to achieve. Why? Because they work in a wrong place where someone is setting the deadline or meeting targets of the boss, not of yours. You talk about responsibility, right? Now, companies are responsible only for making profits. Why? Because they believe that we are agents of the shareholders. And as agents, our dharma is to give maximum money to the shareholders. But unfortunately, there are very few shareholders and lot of earth dwellers who get harmed by the interest of the few shareholders. This earth is meant for shareholders or earth is meant for earth dwellers? Earth is meant for earth dwellers. God made earth for creatures who live on earth so that they can enjoy and develop. Right? But what is happening? So that there the concept of dharma comes. Responsibility and dharma go together. Now what is dharma? Dharma is my duty, my responsibility at an individual level, microcosmic level. But what is dharma at a microcosmic level? At macrocosmic level, dharma is that way of life which supports and sustains and elevates everyone. Supports everyone to sustain their livelihood and supports everyone to elevate their consciousness. That is dharma. Is the world living like that today? Is the government functioning like that today? Is the company functioning like that today? Company wants profit maximization, government wants GDP maximization. What is the difference? Both are economic numbers. Why numbers are dominating so much our consciousness? Why we assume that more money means better quality of life? Because we are a poor society. But why we are a poor society? Is it because earth has enough or earth doesn't have enough? Or it is the human consciousness of poverty? Poverty is an artificial problem. Earth is abundant enough to reduce or remove everyone's poverty. Communism was an attempt to do that. It failed. Because communism failed because of the consciousness not being evolved enough to really embrace communism. We don't need communism. Okay. What we need is a spiritual way of life, where we understand these questions that we are raising in these sessions. What is the purpose of human life? Purpose of human life is to grow lighter and lighter and lighter and happier and happier and happier, to grow more conscious, more conscious, more conscious, so that we can taste the infinite sweetness of God and become God in the process. Whoever tastes the God becomes God. God is a substance, mind you. But whoever eats God becomes God. So you want to, that is called nectar. Soma. No, Soma. Vedas are filled with reference to Soma. Soma is a heavenly juice which anyone drinks becomes God. And people are thinking of this herb and that herb. But actually it's not a herb, it's a nectar that flows from the heaven. So there is a story in mythology, Bhagirath, through his efforts, he wanted to redeem the ancestors who were burned by a rishi. Raja Sagar had 60,000 sons. And they went and they did some mischief with the rishi, and the rishi burned them with his anger, and they were reduced to ashes in the Patal Lok. So this Bhagirath wanted to redeem his ancestors' souls because they were struggling in the Patal. Okay, their souls got trapped there; they could not go to the Pitru Lok. So Bhagirath wanted to redeem them. So what he did was he did a tremendous tapas too. He was told by the gods that if Ganga can come to earth from the heavens and flow through that place where the ancestors died, the ancestors' souls will be redeemed. So he did a Bhagirath means extremely hard effort. It's called Bhagirathi Prayatna in Sanskrit. You do an effort which moves mountains, that is called Bhagirathi Prayatna. So Bhagirath, did tremendous amount of never seen before tapas and forced Ganga to agree to come to the earth. But Ganga told, okay, my child, I will come, but if I come, the earth will be smashed to pieces. I have such tremendous force. So who will bear my load? Earth is not capable. So then, next problem, who will bear the load? So again he meditated, and then God told him, Lord Shiva will be able to bear the load. So Lord Shiva, he worshipped for ages, and then God Shiva, accepted. Okay, fine. Let Ganga descend on my head, and then in a very beautiful way, I will let her spread across the earth and go to that place where ancestors are, souls are waiting. So then, Ganga flew into Shiva's jata, and from there she came down to earth, and then she finally went to the place where Bhagirath's ancestors were dead, and the souls were redeemed. Very beautiful story. Do you think it's a literal story or a mythological story? Lakshartha. Lakshartha. What is that? Here is the meaning. Raja Sagar had 60,000 children. Who is Raja Sagar? Raja Sagar is Sagar, who's sea. The king, the ancestor, the original ancestor, was in touch with the supreme consciousness. Hence he is called Raja Sagar. Okay, but he at the same time became very fond of the earth also, physical life also. He knows God and wants to live earthly life also. So the result of that, slowly he got separated from God. Produced 60,000 children. Means what? He took birth and died, one child. Took birth and died, second child. Took birth and died, third child. Took 60,000 births and died every time. And every time he died, he went more and more into Patal. Patal is the direction away from God. You create more and more Sanchit Karma. Raj, you are with me, right? Karmasa is becoming heavier. So Raja Sagar has become now Bhagirath. Why? Because he has come so far away from God that to redeem his ancestors, 60,000 ancestors, his own previous births, he has to make Ganga to come down. First he has to find the solution. So he is told Ganga has to come down. The divine nectar has to come down. Who is divine nectar? The ocean of God. It has to be brought down to earth. That's not easy. In a gross tamasic state where you find yourself, not easy. Right? So he does the tapas, spiritual practices, and ultimately Ganga agrees to come. But she says, child, you are so weak. Earth means his body. If I come, your body will die. So who can bear the load? Shiva. So he meditates again for ages to become Shiva, which means what? In the lifetime where Bhagirath started, he was not strong enough to let Ganga come. He has to become God Shiva. Bhagirath became Lord Shiva. Through tremendous meditation in many lifetimes. And then when he had enough strength to bear the load of Ganga, she descended. So It is Shiva who marries God. And Shiva is a man. Doesn't mean if Neha is a woman, she can become that man. Man means here that yang equality. It's not no longer about gender, it's about the quality. I will marry God. God will have to come to marry me. I will become enlightened. I will grow my light so much that God will come and marry me. Your light is God, right? So by saying that I will grow my light, I am trying to marry God. Yes, Rajiv? So beautiful. No? And ultimately, when Ganga flows through every atom of my being, which is a result of the fruits of 60,000 births that I have taken earlier, my entire ancestral lineage is released in me, as me. I attain what is called liberation. And along with me, all my ancestors, all my previous lifetimes find liberation. Otherwise, I will keep rotating in this cycle of birth and death forever and forever. So it's a story of moksha. Dharmartha kama moksha. Yes, Ajit?
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, we have mentioned about this Sanchita karma and the Prarabdha karma.
Yeah.
So, my question is, somewhere I had heard from a communist person, in fact, it's not originally my question, but I didn't have an answer to that question. So, he was asking that this concept of karma, the fundamental questions which you had given in our WhatsApp group to contemplate, why someone is born as rich, why someone has no eyes, why someone is deaf and dumb. So, for all that questions, we find an answer karma. So, from a theist point of view, we may say this is the karma. All these terms are available with us. This Sanchita karma and Prarabdha karma. So, his argument was, isn't it like that? We are punishing a student in the 4th semester for a mistake which he or she has committed in the 1st semester, and that too without telling him this is the exact mistake for which now you are getting this punishment. So, we are forcing that student to assume that if the teacher slaps you, you might have surely committed some mistake, and we cannot read it out now at this time. You have to assume that this would be certainly for some mistake which you might have committed. So,
Yeah.
isn't it a way of making this student shut?
So I understood your question. You want to
Yes,
continue?
No, sir,
Or,
that's it.
because the question is already over basically what you are trying to say. Okay.
Sir.
So I will give the answer that Buddha gave, okay? To the same question Buddha had answered, okay, in the past. So I will share Buddha's answer. So the great Buddha told that imagine a person who has been hit with a poisoned arrow and is in great pain. Okay? And the doctor comes, the Buddha is doctor, right? He comes to heal him. And that person says, no, I will not take the treatment till you tell me who hit this arrow, who poisoned the arrow, who is the culprit behind my pain, and answer to me why I am suffering from this pain. Till you explain all this to me and also find out the person who hit me with this arrow and who poisoned the arrow, I will not take the treatment. Buddha says, I don't know who hit the arrow, who poisoned the arrow. I don't know, what you did to deserve this or you did not do to deserve this. But point is, are you in pain? He says, yes. Shall I treat you? Do you want to get rid of pain? He says, yes. Then shall I treat you? Or you want to be in pain till the answers are found? He says, no, I want to be in pain till answers are found. Then Buddha says, then all the best, I am going. I will not waste my time on you. But if you are intelligent enough to get the treatment, I can treat. So idea is, what Buddha is saying is that whoever designed this mad universe the way it is not your problem. Your problem is you're in pain. So do you want your pain to end or not? What is the point in fighting God or blaming whoever idiot who made this world? Huh? You want to fight that idiot or you want to heal your problems? Find solutions. Okay. So that is second level answer. Third level answer is, a deep answer is, that God doesn't see you as weak. God doesn't see you as standard one student. God sees you as his own being. So God judges you from His standard, which are very high. And God's nature is that He can't pretend. God is very true and very real. If God starts pretending, God will become like a donkey like us. Okay? So God is very real and sees you as a divine being. So in God's perspective, Sadhu is a divine being. Right? But Sadhu is behaving like a stupid fellow on earth. Then God is not able to understand that. And God has nothing to do with it. So that is why what happens, God shuts Himself off from you. Your voice of conscience dies. He no longer is in touch with you. So God now doesn't know what you are doing. So now you are taken care of by the officers of God who run this universe. And these officers, in astrology are, Saturn, Mars, Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu and all that. 7 planets and 2 shadows. They govern the universe. Your horoscope takes care. God is nowhere in the picture. Prarabdha karma just runs through your Kriyaman, you manifest from your consciousness. It's a game, it's the matrix continues. In the matrix, what you are saying is true. The wrong that you did in the first semester, you have to face the consequence of the fourth semester. That is the way matrix is structured. Okay, but there is a way to come out of the matrix, and that way I am trying to teach you. And that department of pain belongs to Saturn. Saturn is it's called Chronos, God Chronos in the I think Greek I think. Chronos means the one who controls time. Timing of events is Saturn's department. So in the palm, the fate line runs towards the mount of Saturn. So Saturn teaches through pain. Saturn is the Yama, the god of death. Saturn is the chief justice of this universe. He sits over you and your karmas and passes judgment. And accordingly, you have to experience whatever he decides. So this is not a lawless universe, it's a very lawful universe. And laws are not to be determined by human constitution. Indian concept. Laws are already ordained by God. Your job is only to understand God and not to teach God. The person who asked you these questions is trying to teach God that please recreate the universe according to my advice. And what a stupid imagination it is of omnipotence. That fellow must be a megalomaniac, no? He is more clever than God. He can teach God. See, bloody fool, you have not created it nicely. Create like this as I am telling you. So God says, okay, meet my child Rahu. He will talk with you. He has 9 secretaries. So he will say, we go and talk to Rahu. And then Rahu will take you on a very nice ride across the universe where all his arrogance and pride will melt away. Till you become like this. Oh God, forgive me. I made mistakes. Before Ganapati, you go and do like that, no? So become humble and make it a bit simple. Have you got a question? Yeah, Raj?
Yes, sir.
Sadhu, lot of food for thought. It's a very humbling answer. Okay, it's okay. Yeah, Raj?
Sir, I wanted to go back to your previous explanation of Raja Saga.
Can you just wait 1 second, Raj? I want to tell my wife to make some tea for me. Okay?
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah, Raj, please.
Sir, in the entire human body composition, the only organ which cannot take up the exercise is the brain.
The
Meaning,
last part, can you repeat again, Raj? Didn't follow.
yeah. Sir, in the entire human body composition, the organs, the only organ which cannot take the physical exercise is the human brain. Apart from that, we can put exercise to any body part. For example, if I need to do eyes, ears, biceps, triceps, if I need to build, I can do it. The only way to exercise brain is through meditation and with some Sanskrit shlokas and mantras. Sir, in chakra meditation, first a guru will teach us how to activate those 7 important points in our body. For example, I'll take one example out of 7, which is Agna Chakra. Why Agna Chakra is important? So it is between the eyebrows, wherein a guru will activate the point and they'll ask you to meditate for some time. That way, humans can start using their front brain, which most of us don't use it. Example, in the case of fear, our front brain will not react, or the back portion of the brain reacts. This is what I remember from reading some articles, sir. So that way, the front portion of the brain is never used. The reason why I'm trying to give this example to this group is to connect back the point that you made about Raja Sagar, wherein he started separating from God and he started going down, meaning Patala. Patala is not like how in movies that it is shown, it is underground. It's not that. Basically, people come down. So I never understood, I could never correlate in meditation. So they always say that raise your conscious level. That way, first you meditate in your Agra chakra, then activate all your 7 points. Then they ask you to meditate from 2 feet above your head. Then they ask you to focus on the sky. Then they ask you to meditate for another 10 minutes. Then beyond that sky, there is another level called Shiva, which is completely darkness. Only Shiva can live. So they ask us to go there. So now, based on the examples that you gave, sir, in terms of how we separate from God and come down, to go back to that level, it takes a lot of efforts. So today, I think I found an answer to why in meditation, gurus ask us to raise our consciousness by focusing higher and higher. So I'll stop here, sir.
Okay, so shall I answer or give my thoughts?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
So you see, again, going back to Tamas, Raja, Sattva and Trigunatita. Okay, I never talked about Trigunatita so far, but it's time to not talk about that. So you said that, your gurus taught you that Shiva is absolute darkness and only Shiva can live there. And that is why Shiva is called Tamasic entity. Shiva is a Tamasic form of God. That darkness is very beautiful because that induces sleepiness. For example, if we don't sleep, won't we go mad? Is sleep beautiful? Yes or no?
Yeah.
How many of you can give me your sleep for $1 billion? I give you $1 billion and you never sleep. Will you give me your sleep?
Cannot.
You cannot, you will die, no? Not only die, that life will be so miserable, where you feel like sleeping and you can't sleep. How will that life be? I think it is the worst possible torture. Better to kill a person very quickly, no? Is it not? If you have suffered from insomnia, you can know what I'm saying. It's such a mad place, insomnia. When you want to sleep and you can't sleep. It's a torture. So that blackness, that darkness, that womb of God is dark, black. It is needed. The child can sleep peacefully, blissfully, trusting the Mother God to take care. I know not, oh God, you know, that is darkness, and I rest. That is sleep, right? I'm tired and sick of all my explorations, I want to rest in your lap. That is sleep, right? That is Shiva as the mother, the black color, the tamas. But truth is not black in color. Truth is golden light, blissful light. Truth is nectar. Shiva puts you to sleep, but nectar wakes you up. Nectar is Vishnu. Vishnu is Rajas energy, Rajas form of God. Why? I'll point to Meera Bhajan, most famous bhajan. पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो. Have you heard that bhajan? Everyone has heard that bhajan, famous bhajan, no?
Yeah.
I think everyone would have heard, right?
Yes, sir.
What is Meera's
Yes, sir.
Meera is a Krishna devotee, right? Only song where she mentions Ram and not Krishna is this song. पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो. Not, she doesn't say Krishna ratan payo. She says Ram ratan dhan payo. Why she says Ram and not Krishna? There's a mystery there. Krishna is black. Krishna means black. But she did not find a black ratan. She found a Ram ratan, which is a bright ratan. So she can't call it Krishna because that will be fallacy. She worshipped Krishna and found Ram. And Ram Ratan, and found Ram as Ratan. What is Ratan? Ratan is jewel. So what she found is her own soul, which is Ram. And that glows like a Ratan, a pearl, beyond price. And that glows and grows, and that is Vishnu. So why is Vishnu Rajas? Have you ever wondered? Does God need something else to to fulfill himself? Vishnu is God, supreme. So why he is a Rajas? He is Rajas because, as I explained in the last class, he needs to grow up in you as you. So पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, चोर न लूटे, something na kute, like thief cannot take it away, no one can take it away. And din बढ़त सवायो, it increases day by day at 25% rate. Today it was this big, then it became this big and this big. So Vishnu is growing in me. And as Vishnu grows in me, grow your light. Light is growing in me as me. And then Brahma takes birth on that lotus. Coming out of navel of Vishnu. What does that mean? Why navel? Because navel is the place where all the 72,000 naris of the body come and meet. When someone is dying and the Vaidya is going to make one last ditch effort, where he will apply the medicine? In the navel. Last ditch effort is made in the navel, because if you apply the medicine in the navel, even when the person is unconscious, it will reach the entire system. All the 72,000 naris meet at the navel. So navel is the hub of the whole human body. How do you know? Another proof. When the child takes birth, it is connected to the mother through that naal, it is called in Hindi. I don't know what you call it in English. When the black placenta, a black thing, long, connects the child to the mother's womb. That has to be cut. So the mother feeds the child through the placenta in the navel. Why? Because when the child feeds on the navel, the whole body receives, the whole body develops. The navel is an important center. So that is why out of Vishnu's navel, that lotus is growing, on which Brahma is sitting. What is the idea? As Vishnu grows in me more and more, as Atman awakens more and more, as you start to wake up more and more, as light starts to grow in you more and more, you experience the growing Vishnu fighting a battle like Mahakali with the tamas in me. It is Vishnu who is battling as Mahakali against the tamas, which is obstructing Vishnu. So one day you rise, next day you fall. One day you rise, next day you fall. One moment you rise, next moment you fall. This goes on and on and on. In Ramayana, it is depicted as Rama removes one head of the Ravana, the head again grows back. The battle of Rama and Ravana is happening inside me. Sometimes I behave like a Ravana, sometimes like a Rama. Rama. And fight is going on. That phase is Mahakali phase, Mahadurga phase. Then slowly the light grows sufficiently, displaces the tamas. And then what happens? How I experience in my system? My vital force, my energy, my prana is getting purified. My energies are becoming less tamasic, then less rajasic, and then more sattvic. So the light is growing in me. As it is growing, my intellect starts to mature. I start to think more beautifully, harmoniously, dharmically. I understand these things which I am trying to share with you. And that is the growing of the lotus of consciousness. Why lotus? Because I was in the mud. But Payoji means Ram Ratan Dhan Payo. I found that Ratan, Ram, which feeds the lotus of consciousness. And it's blossoming. And slowly the consciousness blossoms. And then everything becomes so clear. This whole Leela becomes clear. And then we can answer Ama's question, Nirakar Sakar Kyun Hua? Because God wanted to live as me. Hence He created me. But it's a long project. To bear the load of being a God, you need immense amount of preparation, Bhagirath Prayatna. And so the universe is made like this sadhu, filled with so many challenges, because you are shaping a God, not a donkey. A conscious God, living God in a body, and demonstrating fearlessly to the planet that this is possible. In you also, and you also. Wake up. Don't waste your life running in malls and running after false goals. Come within and grow yourself and grow your light. So, revisiting Raj, this thing little bit. Tamas is the lower three chakras, Raj. Muladhar, Swadhisthana, and Manipur. Okay, that is the demonic plane, the Patal.
Right, sir.
The earthy plane is the Anahat and the Visuddhi, the heart center and the throat center.
Right, sir.
It is here where you become ethical. From the heart, you feel other people's pain and try to alleviate that. And from the Visuddhi, the throat center, you speak your truth. Your truth, not absolute truth. What you know to be true, you speak without any fear. Because what prevents you from speaking the truth is fear, isn't it?
Right, sir.
So you can speak your truth only when your lower chakras have been satisfied. What is your Muladhara? Muladhara is fear chakra. Muladhara is meant to survive. At Muladhara level, the predominant emotion is fear of survival. So at Muladhara, you want to accumulate money. You want to save for tomorrow, which is the grossest level of vibration. World is suffering from that today, trying to accumulate so much money that they don't care for anything. So a corporate entity is a Muladhara chakra entity. Wants only money, more and more, for the insecure shareholders. That is center of greed, which can never be satisfied. Greed and fear both come from Muladhara. Then next is Swadhisthana chakra. What is Swadhisthana? Pleasure chakra. See, my fears have been alleviated because I have enough money in the bank. Now let me play. Let me have sex. Let me have ganja, marijuana. Let me travel. Let me enjoy. Let me wear clothes. Let me smell perfumes. Let me celebrate life as if there is no tomorrow. Physical celebration, the Western style of life. Bindas, Western world of heaven. 5 girlfriends right side, 5 girlfriends left side, beer in the mouth and cigarette in the other hand, that is nirvana. American nirvana. It is Swadhisthana chakra nirvana. And what is Muladhara nirvana? $10 billion in the bank and $1 billion on my pillow. That is no Muladhara chakra nirvana. It is imagination. The consciousness under the grip of these lower energies imagines it to be nirvana. And what is nirvana? Freedom from pain, eternal bliss. And Muladhara chakra, the Manipur chakra. What is the model of nirvana? I will conquer the whole world. I am the great Alexander. I will conquer the whole planet, and then I will be happy. Hopefully, when everyone says, Hail Mogambo, I will be happy. So, Pani the energy. Rishi. So that is the Manipur chakra nirvana. The great dictator. Everyone bows down to me. I am the most talented person. I am the greatest, I am the biggest, I am the world champion. That is the Manipur. Bow down to me. Clap for me. Ego is at its strongest in the Manipur. Competition center is Manipur. And so these three are obviously demonic plane. You can see that. Taken to an extreme, Manipur is dangerous, Swadhisthana is dangerous, and Muladhara is dangerous. So these are demonic planes, Patal. Then we come to human plane, heart. At the heart level, I want to bring up my child. I want to care for my mom. I want to care for my friend. I want to care for my country. Heart, it's a thriving heart. Beautiful, loving heart. That is a human heart. Feels love, emotion, poetry. Paints, sings. It's a glorious human, lovable human. Then the next is, you see, everyone is afraid to survive. No one wants to speak the truth. I will speak the throat center. Okay. So I'm getting courage now more and more. So my throat center is opening up. Right? I don't fear anymore. So it is a beautiful thing. I'm so happy that I am now able to speak. I feel less bottled up and more free. At every higher level, I feel more free. I can now speak my truth. I don't care who thinks what. You are no one servant. In my soul, I am free now. Okay. So I can speak like truth. These two are human levels, a strong human. Won't you like your friend who speaks the truth? Tell me, Neha, Saju, Sachin, what is a good friend who speaks the truth or tells you are great, wonderful, sir?
Who speaks the truth, sir?
The truth.
Yes.
Balance of both, sir.
So heart and throat both, right? Did I get it right, Satish? You meant that, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Tells the truth lovingly, right?
Correct.
Tells the truth because he loves you, obviously. Yeah. So we want a human friend. But if it were a Muladhar friend, what he will do? He will tell you are so wonderful. Why? Because you are giving him money every month. He will bribe you, right? So what is called chamcha, no? Or sycophants. So they are basically Muladhar friend. They want their money. So they will tell, yeah, sir, you are good, you are a king, you are a royal fellow. Right? You don't want such friends. They are nonsense. Okay. Then we come to what Raj told, Agya Chakra. Yeah, Raj, you can present, it's okay. We can keep talking.
Yes, sir. I'm presenting for the benefit of others, sir.
Yeah, so Agya Chakra is here, the sixth chakra, forehead. If Agya Chakra opens for someone, the entire brain, all the four lobes, they become harmonized. If it opens, you get clairvoyant abilities. You can see through reality without a microscope, without a telescope. Kanad Rishi, in the 2nd century AD, described the atomic structure before Niels Bohr. Do you know that?
No, sir.
You should know that. Kanad Rishi very beautifully in one of the Upanishads in 2nd century AD has described the structure of the atom very accurately. How Agya Chakra was open. He could see. So Agya Chakra has fantastic abilities if it opens completely. Okay, and then the Sahasrara, the 7th chakra, which connects us to God. No, when a child is taken, when a child takes birth, here is fontanelle, Fontanelle, fontanelle. The fontanelle is open. So the child is touch with God. At a certain stage, a few months old child, for that child, fontanelle is closed. Once the fontanelle is closed, the connection with God is cut. And then the child is left inside the body to have a lifetime of experiences. But God is very much there for a few months and in the mother's womb also to sustain the child. Okay. Now what we are doing is we are again going back and through sadhana opening up the Sahasrara. That is the objective of spirituality. So that we can know Shiva, as no Raj was saying. First we know Shiva and then we know Vishnu. Shiva is not end of the story. Shiva is where you become like a lotus, you transcend above all the worldly maya and temptations. You can be a person now, you can be an individual. Shiva is an individual. In means that which cannot, divi means divided, dual means into two. So individual is someone whose consciousness cannot be split into two. One person, one purpose, one man, one life. A sattvic life, completely. Impeccable integrity, and he has gone beyond all the temptations. He has seen world as it is. World was meant to be a playground and a school ground, where I was here to learn and to grow, and to come closer to the inner perfection, which is already present inside us. Vivekananda gave the definition of education. It is the bringing out the perfection already inherent in man. Perfection is already inside us. You just discover it and unfold it. So this is what Raj was referring to. Yeah, Raj, you can explain if you want to explain something.
No, sir, I think you have pretty much covered it. I just wanted to share my experience. When I took this class 3-4 years ago, sir, I did not believe that I can sit and achieve the conscious level bliss. For example, I did not understand the seven chakras in my very first class. Then I was introduced into Kundalini yoga for about it was a 6-week session. It used to happen on every Saturday and Sunday. I took my entire family, assuming that my mom can control her diabetes. So that is how I was introduced into this. And sir, it's an experience basically, sir. And only when an individual experiences, they cannot. It's very difficult to explain. So at the end of the session, sir, at the end of the 6th week or 7th week, all of us in my family, I could never sit for 5 minutes and close my eyes. I used to get some distractions, but after going through this journey of the structured meditation program, I was able to sit for about an hour and 10 minutes, which I never did in my entire life.
Yeah, so idea
I wanted to
is,
share.
yeah, so idea is that what Raj is sharing is that there are hidden potentials inside us. For example, his concentration and patience increase so much from 5 minutes, 10 minutes to 1 hour, 10 minutes. It's exponential in a 6 weeks program, right? And that too going only on a Sunday, I guess, not every day. So what he's sharing is that there are tremendous amounts of potential hidden in us. This is a feat, like from 5 minutes to 1 hour, 10 minutes, attention span increasing. It's such a huge jump, right, in a short while. So like that, it can keep growing. So that his light grew basically in those 6 weeks program. Similarly, each one of us, there's a lot of potential for development. If we understand that and recognize that, and I will, think I'm successful if we can appreciate that, yes, this is a lifestyle worthy of being experienced. And the fact that our ancient rishis were not foolish people, they really, created a huge amount of knowledge, which is there sitting in those books, golden books. They look archaic because people have not understood them. So one purpose of mine is to share these ancient traditional literature and make it popular among the people, so that they understand that they have hidden meaning. There are layers and layers of meaning inside them. So that we don't fall, a victim to the Western style of thinking, which we are following to a large extent. We have our own Indian traditions and we can wake up and follow them. And they bring much more health and happiness than this chasing materialistic nirvana. Because real nirvana is to attain union with God, conscious union with God. This is called enlightenment. That is why I am calling it grow your light. I will stop here and invite your observations, comments, questions. We were exploring karma. I don't know where we are in respect to karma. I have a lot to say about karma, but I will take a pause and just try to see what you people think about these things so far. Hemant, you wanted to say something? I just forgot about it. That is there, Hemant?
Nothing, sir. Nothing.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, others? Saju, Sir, Raj.
So coming back to karma, sir, irrespective of an individual's physical health status, one action all of us do is breathing. Whether a person is in coma, that's an action basically. So those who are capable of moving around and doing karmas, and those who cannot do karmas, both will breathe. But those who can freely move around and take up the decisions and accumulate those karmas, they'll go on with their destination. So with this, sir, I wanted to share my thought process on the karma. In Bhagavad Gita, the recommended karma is the nishkama karma, meaning doing something without expecting. Of course, when it comes to work and all, we commit to our duty, we earn. So that's separate. But when it comes to nishkama karma, the definition is slightly different in Bhagavad Gita. It's not about doing our duty and earning. It's more to do with while giving something, we should not expect. For example, we go and plant a tree. I might not be able to see the fruits from that particular tree. Probably somebody else might take it. Even birds, animals can take the benefit of it. So that is the definition which has been given in Bhagavad Gita, sir. So this is something I wanted to share it with this group.
Yeah, so now from Bhagavad Gita's perspective, before I start, I want others also to make some comments. It's important, if you have any questions, doubts, which you want me to talk about, or you want me to explore.
I don't have any questions, but I did not know there were so many types of karmas. So this was very interesting. Is what I found.
So it's good to increase our knowledge also. Very good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sachin. Yeah.
Yes, so I have questions or direction about what is the context of involvement.
Can you come again? What is it?
Yeah, am I audible clearly now?
Yeah.
Yeah, my question was more about relationship between the higher beings and us, and how is that impacting our karma? Can we always seek to be in the grace of the ocean that you call the divine ocean? If we are trying to be in more connection with it, then does karma itself kind of just dissolves away and doesn't make any sense? Or my questions are on those aspects.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Saju, you want to say something? Or you want me to explore something?
Yes, sir. Sir, there was a statement which I had come across, that when we do good karma, again we will get good result, and when we do bad karma, it will have some bad result. So even doing good things also will make you to come to this earth again to enjoy its positive benefits. So that is why these sadhus, monks, they do not involve in any charity works or something like that. They are just sitting and meditating. Is it right, sir? Is it the right way of understanding?
It is one way they look at it, but I feel this is incomplete understanding. Because to me, the most enlightened person on earth is Amma. And is she sitting like a sadhu with her eyes closed, or is she vigorously trying to raise the earth's consciousness? Amma is absolute karma, she is engaged in this battle, right? With her all her being. What did Krishna do in his time? Same thing he did, right? Isn't it? So for me, the two most enlightened people, Krishna and Amma, they both gave their entire life to society. Okay, so truly awakened beings, they don't try to escape the universe. Where will you escape? All this is you only and your manifestation. You are God, your consciousness. They are all one family. So if one member of the family becomes indifferent to other members of the family, will the head of the family like it? You have 10 children, let's say, and 9 children are suffering, and one capable child, closes his eyes and becomes indifferent to the 9 children. Will you like it?
No, sir.
That is how God is. They want to reach God by neglecting his children. How it is possible? So obviously they are living in a fool's paradise, right? It's not possible. So if you want real grace, if you really want, to experience that divinity inside in a true sense, then you need not neglect your duties. Never. It's a mistake. That is a coward actually, trying to run away from the battlefield. Okay. But this battlefield belongs to us. God has created it like that. As we reach later sessions, and that is much, much later, not very immediately, you will get a holistic understanding of the current phase the earth is passing through. In the nakshatra cycle, there is one nakshatra where it is Hasta and Chitra come. Okay. The 27 nakshatras are Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, Mrigasira,
Baka.
Ardra, Punarvasu, Pushya, and Aslesa. So that is first 9. Then Magha, Purva Falguni, Uttara Falguni, Hasta, Chitra, Swati, Visakha, then Jyeshtha. So 18. And then Mula, Purvasara, Uttarasara, then Sravana, Dhanistha, then Satovisa, then Purva Bhadrapad, Uttar Bhadrapad, and Revati. So again, next set of 27 nakshatras. Okay. So first 9 nakshatras, are from Aries to Cancer. The first 4 zodiac signs. Okay. Then from 5 to 8, Leo to Scorpio, and then from Sagittarius to Pisces. So in a way, Tamas, Rajas, Sattva, you can see again there the mapping is there. In the first phase, you become a person, you take birth in the Aries, you have your family members. In the third house, you develop communication skills, the brain, you become aware of the whole universe. In the fourth house, you have a mother house, family, motherland, culture to nourish you, to support you. And then you break free from that family from fifth house. You express yourself in society more and more. You learn, you educate yourself. You love some other person also outside the family. And sixth house, you develop abilities to deal with disease and the negative side of life. And to deal with negativity, enmity, and such thing, adversity, etc. In the seventh house, you get married. In the eighth house, you meet death and obstacles. So that is second phase. And then, so in the second phase, you are becoming stronger. You learn to relate to others. You no longer think about I, you also think about us. And you also face the ultimate reality of death. And in that, the purpose of life is to grow your consciousness. Okay. How I became us, I married someone, raised a family, I became bigger than I became one, at least, unit of the family. So consciousness expanded to some extent at least. I became responsible for my family at least. Right, as a father, mother, whatever. As a wife or husband, I became loyal to my husband or wife. I learned how to relate, even to bosom friends also. Even that is seventh house. In the ninth house, 12th house, it is dharma. Ninth house, I learned dharma and dharmic principles. In the 10th house, Shravan and Dhanishta, I learned Shravan is ears, listening. I started to learn to the inner God in Shravan Nakshatra. In the Shravan month, all over India, people take holy water, carry it to Shiva Linga and worship Shiva Linga. And pour water on the Shiva Linga. Why? Because Shiva Linga is the basic causal body in which the soul is there and the karmas are there. So unless that causal body is purified of the karmas, you will not be able to see reality as it is. So, and as a result of that, you will not be able to hear the inner divine voice. In the Shravan Nakshatra, when you come close to God's voice inside, your intuition becomes impeccable. You are guided from within. The synchronicities we talked about, they happen with tremendous regularity. God speaks inside and creates miracles outside. And you know that you are on the path because God speaks inside, you follow that voice, and synchronicity happens outside. But if you stop listening to God, synchronicities disappear. Yaman, samajh rahe ho na? Yaman, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Our yesterday's conversation. So it's very important to listen to God and obey God. Okay. If you want to have God in your life and also be egoic, then it won't work. You have to surrender your ego to God. Because when He starts guiding you, you have to obey God. He knows better than you what is good for you. That is Shravan Nakshatra. And then Dhanishta and like that. And Dhanishta level, what happens? Dhanishta is the most rich. Dhan is richness. And Dhanishta means the most rich person. Rich in what sense? One has listened to God so much, one has become tremendously wise. One understands the music of the universe. The Nishta symbol is Damru. This is a musical universe, a rhythmic universe. It plays according to its musical sphere. So to understand that. It is at that level where life becomes so beautiful, when God speaks in your heart. When in the ninth house, Sagittarius, you are inspired by religion, not religion, ethics, dharma. You want to teach ethics, you want to teach, I was like that. People have seen me, right? You want to teach ethics, you want to teach happiness, you want to teach good things in life. That is Sagittarius. Then God likes you, then He starts to speak in your heart. Inspires you to come up with a class like this, do other things. So you surrender more and more, trust God more and more. It's like this, life keeps unfolding. You keep traveling upwards. till God reveals himself more and more fully, more and more fully, first as a voice, then as knowledge, then as Amrita means Satabisa. Satabisa is 100 healers. In Satabisa, now you develop tremendous powers to heal people through medicine. God reveals medicine inside the universe. Different plants, different trees, different herbs, different stuffs. You become physically a very great healer. You can heal, you have a healing energy. Even Reiki, even pranic therapy, homeopathy, not allopathy. Allopathy belongs to Virgo. Okay, where you try to control hygiene factors and this factor, that factor. But in Satabisa, you don't think like that. You are more holistic. You know that if I can improve the vitality of that patient, he will recover. Okay. And from Satabisa, you go to next, Purva Bhadrapad, Uttar Bhadrapad. At that level, you become a great devotee. You want to know God more and more, more and more, even more deep, because you love God so much. Ego starts to die in Purva Bhadrapada. So in Bhadrapada, the symbology is the four payas or four legs of a funeral cot. The dead body is taken on a funeral cot, right? So the four payas or four legs of the funeral cot. So the Purva Bhadrapada is the rear two legs. And Uttara Bhadrapada is the front two legs. What is the idea? The idea is that your ego starts to die. In Purva Bhadrapada dies half. In Uttara Bhadrapada dies fully. Why ego has to die? So that God can come. And is God coming a dangerous thing? No, it's a beautiful thing. What happens is that your ego dies means your ignorance dies. You don't die. Your ignorance dies. And your ignorance was blocking you from the tremendously clear vision of the universe, which is a vision of a rishi. When the ego dies, the Agya Chakra can really open. And you can see the world as it is meant to be by God. Then you live in God's world. And it's a magical world where there is no fear and no scarcity. Are you mad? How can there be scarcity in God's world? You will just remove every problem in a trice. He's a magician, right? God is the ultimate magician. That is a world of magic. You live in partnership with God. No. Then you can enjoy the Leela, the playfulness of this universe. Krishna always had a smile on his face. Why? Even in the war, he had a smile on his face. Because he knows everything is Leela. No one is dying. How can a soul die? He teaches that, no? Bhagavad Gita. There is no death. Death is illusion. It's only a play. You came here to play a role. Now, are you playing your role perfectly? That is the only question. So, then, in Revati Nakshatra, last Nakshatra, Pusan is the god of Revati. Pusan is, the god who guides sheep to their home. Sheep who get lost, he guides them home. So each one of us is like a lost sheep. We have lost our home in God. So Pusan is the god who guides us home to God. Finally we reach home. We know our home. We become one with the Kshisagar, the God's house. In Revati. That is the oceanic consciousness. You become one with the oceanic consciousness in Revati. And that is the story. See, so the journey is not complete there. After that, what happens? In Aswini Nakshatra, in 10th degree, sun becomes exalted. What is that sun? That sun is you. You commune with God and God flows into you. Aswini Nakshatras, God is Aswini Kumaras, twin brothers. They are the people who carry sun's chariot to earth. When sun is waking up, the earth is waking up and sunrise is happening, sun comes on a chariot in the ancient mythology. In that chariot, Aswini Kumaras are the basically people who are like horses who bring sun to earth. So what is the idea? It's not physically sun is being brought. That is symbolic meaning. Symbolic meaning is that inner sun which needs to awaken for enlightenment to happen. That is brought about by Ashwini Kumaras, twin brothers. Why twin brothers? Because the first Kumara, Ashwini Kumara, focuses upon the sun, the inner Atman. And when he focuses upon the sun sends the light. It's like contact. It's like electricity cannot run unless you plug the thing in the socket. It is like that. No? So your conscious attention on God is needed for God to flow into you. So that capacity has to be developed. That is what Bhagavad story tells. That you cannot simply randomly wake up. You have to prepare yourself for that ultimate state where you can peacefully commune with God and not get disturbed by it. So for that to happen, your motivations have to go through a gradual process of transformation. Today you want a job, or you want to protect your job, or you want to get promotion in your job. But tomorrow it has to go beyond the job, towards collective purposes, where become from I to us, and then from us, which is a family, to the global us, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So as your motivation grows higher and higher and higher, becomes less tamasic, less rajasic, and more sattvic, and more sattvic. That is the soul story. That is the soul story. That is the growing your light, inner light. It's a very beautiful and very collaborative process where the divine intelligence plays with us, and we play with divine intelligence, and we play with the world also. We never neglect the world, we never dismiss the world, we never deny the world. We live beautifully in the world. We have one symbol in spirituality, or Nataraja symbol. Shiva, the great Nataraja, king of dancers. We play life like a Nataraja. We dance through life. Our life becomes a sacred dance. So what is a dance? Dance is, can you separate dance from music? Shiva is Damru and dance, Shiva is a dancer and has a Damru in hand. Damru is a musical instrument. So, in dance, the tal is very important, tal. That dholak is for tal, Dholak, tabla, damru, these things give tal, So your footsteps match the tal. So dance. So dance is like, life is like that. A death has happened in the family, we cannot go and start to crack jokes. You have to blend in that atmosphere, right? So that is the mood of the moment. You have to. So this dancer means you start living life according to the different moods of different situations. You respond very intelligently. You are in tune with the inner requirement of this current moment. You live very intelligently. So as an enlightened man or a woman, you live very intelligently, very lovingly, very wisely, very peacefully, collaborating, cooperating, contributing, helping everyone to grow their life. So have I answered you, Sadhu? You never close your eyes and become indifferent to people, because these people are your brothers and sisters.
Sure, sir.
So how do you respond to what I just talked about for 10 minutes? I will teach in greater detail these things, what I just talked about.
Sir, karma's basic idea, what I was, my argument was doing good karma that will be giving positive result, and bad will give you negative result. Anyway, this karma bundle that will keep on becoming heavier and heavier. For enjoying the purpose of a heavy or lighter version, good or bad version, we really need to come to this earth. And in that sense, maybe that is the reason why monks are not involving in any argument, any positive or negative activities. They are just meditating. But you mentioned we really do not worry about the positive or negative aspects. Rather, we should be involving in our karma, and that karma should be maximum with a spiritual blend. This is what I understand.
In the ashram, if you see the way Amma behaves, that's a good indicator. There are many Swamis who came to Amma and who are very wonderful people and doing all the work in the ashram and singing bhajans, everything. And Amma tells them, go and do PhD. There are many of them like that. Brahma tells, you take care of the software of this particular unit. Or you go and take care of the air conditioning system in the Faridabad hospital. Why? Because they were trained in that area. Air conditioning engineer, he came and Amma sent him to take care of the air conditioners there in Faridabad hospital. And he's complaining, no Amma, please let me be here. So it's not like that. You have to contribute to the world with your skills. Okay. So Karma Yoga is a very acceptable path to purify your consciousness. Ultimately, it's about purifying your consciousness. Because when you only want to do bhajans and kirtans, you are only thinking about yourself, right? But when you are doing that seva, you are thinking about the whole society. Which is better, to be selfish or to be selfless? Amma says it is better to be selfless. Seva is for Amma higher than puja and meditation also. Greatest meditation is to serve God. Nar mein Narayan ki puja, So I feel, see, if you see, to give concluding remark to this thing, what you need more than anything is grace. Grace is God's help. Isn't it? Don't you think, if God were to help, it will be very much more easier to live? Don't you think so?
Yes, sir.
So that is how.
Yeah.
If that is what Krishna taking the reins of Arjuna's chariot in his hands meant. Arjuna became only a follower, and as Krishna guided, he fought the war and he won, right? So that is what a symbolic thing, gesture. So idea is that we give over the reins of our life over to God and let God guide. But then to reach that maturity is not that easy. So today Earth, the way it is, it's an experiment Earth is making through science and technology. Now in the nakshatra system, that is Hasta and Chitra. Magha, Purva, Falguni, Uttara, Falguni, Hasta and Chitra. So Hasta is, with your hands you make tools, equipments. That is science and technology, right? And Chitra is, you understand the way the universe is constructed. Vishwakarma is the God. Vishwakarma is the one who made the universe in mythology. Vishwakarma is the God who created the universe. So Chitra is the place where you are a worshipper of Vishwakarma. You basically understand from Vishwakarma how this universe is constructed. That is science, isn't it? Does it remind you of scientific research? You are trying to understand how the universe functions? That is Chitra. And then understanding that you have gained, you transform it into technology, that is Hasta. Okay. So in Hasta and Chitra, there is a mythological story where, these brothers are called, I'm not getting their name, I'll share with you later, I have forgotten. But there are two brothers, Ribu Kumaras. Okay, these Ribu Kumaras are great scientists. And they can make a heaven, a planet, a galaxy, you name it, they can make it. A clone. Science has reached a level where they can make a clone now. So, these Ribu brothers, they are able to make the universe just like Vishwakarma. They have gained that capacity. And using that capacity, they are imploring the gods to let them join the circle of gods. And Indra says that you are not qualified to become a god yet. There is something lacking in you. And they are really wild with anger that what is lacking in me? I can create the universe itself. Accept me as a god. I am no longer a human. Indra says, no, you are not fit to be a god. You are only a human. Thus, you are more brilliant than other humans, but you are a human only. So they are very mad. Then, Brahma tells them, why don't you worship Mother Gayatri? She will tell you the solution to how to become a god. So they worship Mother Gayatri. Gayatri mantra? So Mother Gayatri. After long worship, Gayatri reveals herself and tells that this is not the way to become God. You become God by surrendering to God. not by trying to play God. That's what it teaches. You need to drop this illusion that you can become a God by creating a universe. That God can do better than you. He's already done it, right? Your job is to surrender to God. Ishwar Parinidhan. And then you become God. So criteria to become a God is to surrender to God and not to play God. So surrender to God means surrender the ego. And when you create the universe, you become loaded with ego, isn't it? Science is so proud, no, today? Isn't science very proud? So science is playing the Ribu brothers right now. Earth is playing the Ribu brothers right now in Hasta. And so all the game on Earth is Hasta Chitra level. So Mavaga, Purva, Falguni, Uttara Falguni, Hasta Chitra, Ketu, Sukra, Surya, Chandra, Mangal. So Hasta is Chandrama and Chitra is Mangal, Mars. Mars is engineering, technology. And Swati is Rahu. Okay. Relationships. You know, customer, stakeholder, this, that, all is Swati. So the life right now, world is going through extremely Rajasic phase and it will learn its lessons. Because this phase ends with death, destruction, Scorpio energy will engulf the world sooner or later. You can see the planetary ecosystem is getting disturbed now, isn't it? So Ribu Kumar will learn that it is not the way to become God. You respect God and His creation and learn Dharma and be more humble and simple. So astrology teaches a lot about the way the God thinks. And you know, Raj is a very good astrologer. I didn't know about it. He shared with me. So Raj, how you respond to this? I gave a brief, glimpse only. I will cover in more detail later.
Sir, in fact, while I was in 7th standard, my parents took my horoscope to an astrologer who was residing next to our area. But they did not realize that there was an error in my horoscope, which was I was born in 10:20 p.m., but somehow it was written as 10:20 a.m. in the morning. Of course, the astrologer was competent, but he read based on the information given by my parents. And the prediction what he gave was completely wrong. He said he'll struggle to clear his 10th standard, his education will not be good, and so on and so forth. So that was going on in my mind for quite some time. Then I thought, rather depending on somebody, why shouldn't I pick up the subject, then test it out by myself, rather going to somebody and depending on somebody. So I picked up this course with the Indian Council of Astrological Sciences in 2011 and 13, sir. It's been 10 years that I completed the course. It was a 2-year certification program. First year I finished my Jyotish Praveen and second year Jyotish Visharda. And grace of the God, immediately, there was a new chapter which was opening in my area. Then they made me as a chapter chairman because there was nobody to take care. So that is how I was involved. And every Sunday between 3 to 6 p.m. I used to teach students. And most of the students were retired professors, people from defense, people from banking, and so on and so forth. They were pretty keen to know the subject and they wanted to learn it scientifically rather going by what people come on TV and say something and ruin the society. So that is how my journey started, sir. And I served there till 2018. Then after picking my PhD with Amrita, I voluntarily took the resignation. I gave the resignation, but still I'm associated with them. But these days I'm not practicing, but this subject is very close to my heart because whenever I have made my job changes in the transit, I always believed in transit, and I used to look at the transit of both Jupiter and Saturn, and I used to confidently take my decision. Am I making the right move in my career? At least, I have made about 3 to 4 job switches in the last 7-8 years. As and when I made a job switch, I was pretty confident that this is the right decision, and things were going in my favor. And of course, I wanted to use this subject to help others. Even today, I don't charge anybody. It's not a single rupee I've taken until date. I help friends and family members if they have some difficulty in understanding. But my focus is mostly in the education and career. In other areas, I do not practice much because these two things are important for children and people who are in profession. So that's why my focus is on 10th house and learning more about 10th house and the transit of Jupiter and Saturn in the real time. So this is about my introduction to the subject.
So my question was, how do you react to or respond to the way I'm trying to use astrology to give you a broad picture of the way the universe functions or the soul progresses?
Sorry, sir. I think I did not hear it.
Like, from a macro perspective, when astrology
Right,
is
sir.
used in this manner to understand the life in larger sense, how you respond to that?
No, I understood your question, sir. Sir, in terms of the planets, they are the karmic patterns which is reflecting on our horoscope. Especially what is visible, what is not visible. For example, somebody can make a very good livelihood out of their career. Is it showcasing on their horoscope or not? Will this person be able to sustain a peaceful life by doing his karma? So those things are clearly visible in somebody's horoscope, be it their education, be it their spiritual level, be it their career, be it their gains in life. So it's very clearly visible in horoscopes, sir, and I strongly believe that what you are teaching here, it's totally connected. But in fact, sir, I was unable to connect many of the things between astrology and psychology. I stopped studying both the subjects for quite some time because I could not establish the relationship. But after after joining this group and started hearing you people, then I'm able to establish relationship between these two subjects, and I strongly feel that astrology as an entity is an important tool for us to understand the spirituality and the karma and the consciousness.
For example, I shared about nakshatras in a broad way, and I talked about Raghu Kumar's and this experiment in the, Virgo, basically. It's playing out in the Virgo right now. Okay. Hasta and Chitra both come in the Virgo only. Chitra, partly in Virgo and partly in, Libra. So what I'm trying to say, when you look at astrology and try to apply it to the way the world is experiencing different phases of development, how you respond to it?
Yeah, sir, how do I respond? So, sir, you spoke about Hasta, and Chandra is the planet, Moon. Moon is mind, basically. And you also spoke about Chitta, which is governed by Mars as a planet, which is a technical planet. So my response to this particular question is these planets and their behavior and the composition play a major role in the activity of things which is happening in and around the Earth, both on terrestrial and non-terrestrial aspects. So this is my response, sir.
So my point was, as civilization, as human civilization, we are moving towards greater and greater enlightenment or greater and greater wisdom. It's a phase we are experiencing where we are trying to create the universe outside God's world. We are creating our own civilization, right? We're imagining we'll go to Mars, we'll go to Moon, we'll settle there. All kinds of things we're imagining. And Raghu Kumar like that. What I'm trying to say, the mythology already captures this phase.
Yep.
Hundreds of years ago, this is already wrote about it. They would have foreseen this phase, no? But as a planet, when we start suffering, then we'll make transition to the next phase. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Till you face death on this path, which is everything is crumbling now, you will not reconstruct in the light of Dharma. Till you suffer Scorpios, this fight, living like this, sustainability problem and all these problems are coming, right? We are like Scorpio trying to engulf you with his 8 hands, right? And when you die this painful death, in the sense, when this type of world you crumbles under its own weight, because it's not based upon Dharma, it is only then that Dharma will revive in its glory at a more planetary level. As a human civilization, people will say enough is enough. We need to understand life in a more holistic way. Is that divine or not? Do we want to live according to its plan or not? The real purpose of religion is to connect to God. It's God's will. So in the real sense, religion or spirituality can be embraced by larger number of people only when people realize that this vision of nirvana through technology is not a successful venture. Raghu Kumars were pointed towards Gayatri. Why? Because Gayatri mantra is the original mantra of Sanatan Dharma. So Om Bhurbhuva Swatat, that mantra, that Savitur Vareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo, 100% there. That is worship of Lord Sun, the divine light. that come and illumine, O supreme light, who illumine all the dimensions. Om Bhur Bhuva Swa. Bhur is earth, Bhuva is the astral plane, and Swa is the God's own plane. O divine light, who illumine all the three planes of earth, of the gods, and of the highest, Vaikuntha, come and illumine my intellect. Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam. So, O divine light who illumine all these three planes, Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Tat, that supreme light, Savitur, which is of the nature of sun sign, Varenyam, I am choosing that light. Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya, O beloved God, Dhimahi, in my intellect, Dhiyo, the cave of my intellect, Dhiyo, Yona Prachodayat. Yona is a cave. In that cave of my intellect, you come and illumine my intellect, Prachodayat. Why? Because when you come into my intellect and illumine my intellect, it is only then I can see with God how beautiful this universe is when seen with the eyes of God. We will share the divine vision. So Ribhu Kumars don't have the divine vision. They only know technology, which is what the world is experiencing today. And then Mother Gayatri teaches them that only way to become a God is to find God and to become one with God and surrender to God. When you say surrender to God, what do you mean? Surrender to the light, the divine light. Come more and more within you and shine more and more through you. That is what I meant. It was a very deep question, Raj. I don't blame you. It's too early. So I was trying to ask you at a macro level how you respond to the use of astrology for this purpose, to understand macro picture, not the micro individual picture. Do you follow my question? What I'm saying?
You got it, sir. I followed it, sir. But I could not comprehend the way it
Yeah.
was to be.
Now you follow it. And why I'm saying this, because as an enlightened man, as a wise man, you will be guiding society tomorrow. That's the idea. Wherever you are in your group, you will be playing that role of the leader, spiritual leader, wise leader. I am expecting that from you, all of you. Okay. Okay, so we'll end the class today. Any comment? Deepa, you were away for some time. Neha, Sachit, Hemant, Saju. Final comments, then we'll say bye-bye for today.
Yes, sir. I was away for a while because we have Vidyut, the multi-fest is going on. So we are on duty. So I just joined some 10 to 20 minutes back. So I will be listening to the recordings.
How do you respond to today's session from whatever you could hear?
I definitely learned about karma and a little bit about how the planetary transits affect our karma and how it makes us decide on to what to do. So I'm yet to listen to the recording in between.
Yeah. Yeah, Neha?
A lot of information, sir, like as I said about the types of karma and also the planetary, the astrology part, which is very new to me. So, yes, I think it'll take some time for me to process this.
But do you think it's a good process that you have joined, or it's a useless process?
No, it's good, definitely. But since it's new, it's just like a lot of information. Yes.
It will take time, yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Saju?
Yes, sir. As Neha said, we are getting new information, unable to comprehend all of them simultaneously, unable to, because certain ideas are contradictory with the earlier information which is already filled in our head. So we will certainly introspect, we will try to reach out at a conclusion, and certainly will follow your clarity one day.
Yeah, thank you. Honest effort is very important here. Yeah.
I wanted to share that I'm really enjoying each and every session, especially when there are times when you become that innocence, you play the god, your facial expressions also turn in a way that when you're explaining the playfulness of the divine itself, It was very evident in the way you were explaining it. So every single line, every single moment of explanation, though I'm paying 100% attention, though it's a 2 hour long call, we never feel like it's very long. But I'm sure there's a lot that would still be missed because there's a lot of contemplation that needs more to be dwelt into whatever we've discussed. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying it, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Hemant?
Yeah, I enjoyed, sir. But so nothing to say right now, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye-bye. We'll meet again next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.